I have some suggestions, again, along the lines of process, as my colleagues have for future meetings of this kind. I was also mystified at the outset why the Transportation Committee was part of this proceeding, which deals with public safety and criminal justice. But you explained that, I guess. I still would feel at this singular moment in history that there are members of the Senate who are more appropriately seated at this table. Members who represent the districts of these businesses, members who represent communities of color who can speak to those concerns. I would request before future meetings you consider substituting me, legislator from Mendota Heights, with Senators Hayden or Senator Champion or Senator Herr, who I feel could represent this situation and speak to it in a way that Minnesotans well deserve. I also felt that opening with the video was inflammatory. It opened with several clips of the governor, which were taken out of context and appeared to cast him in a false light. If we're going to start with a video, I think it might have been appropriate to start with one that times out at about 8 minutes and 48 seconds. I'm not suggesting that we watched that horrible video, but what we did is we watched a reaction without proper consideration or acknowledgement of the action that led to that reaction. And I think it was a disservice to this subject as a whole. In future sessions, we need to acknowledge that. And then lastly, I have to, before I end, close, sir, just from my perspective as a medical professional, you mentioned that there are testifiers who are too afraid to come here to speak. And I think you said it was because of fear of retribution. I would say that there are testifiers who should be afraid to come here to speak because it is a medical risk. We know that the most high-risk transmission situations for COVID-19 are situations in a closed room where people are speaking for prolonged periods. Could illustrate it with a photo and a video of this, exactly what we are doing right here. I heard your explanation about why you don't want to do this by remote option or by telemetry. I respect that. And I have to say, I regret that these things have become a political flag of sorts, because they shouldn't be. They're a basic safety tool. If we were going to go to a construction site with Senator Senjum's committee, we would all put on hard hats and nobody would think twice about it. Nobody would object to it. It is even more appropriate that when we are sitting here and speaking in close quarters for more than 4 hours, that we would all don one of these and not remove it. And it's even more appropriate because we're not protecting ourselves as we would be with the hard hat. We're protecting all of you out there and the reporters and that staff person. They are all placing themselves at risk if we choose not to do these. These have been proven to decrease transmission of the COVID-19 virus. And since we're here talking about rebuilding businesses, it is worth mentioning that the Washington Post published today, Goldman Sachs estimates that we would improve the GDP of this country by 5% if we went to universal mask wearing, because it would avoid future shutdowns. It would be an effective intervention to preserve businesses. So again, Mr. Chair, you may not have control over this behavior, but I would encourage you to continue to encourage your members to wear these faithfully in future sessions, and thank you for your leadership.